Aston Martin endured a very hard start of the 2026 season, and things are not looking promising for the upcoming races either. All eyes are on the maestro Adrian Newey, as the expectations were very high for the new collaboration between Aston Martin and Honda. But now that they're arguably the worst team on the grid, internal frustrations have started to boil over, and the big question emerges: is this a threat for Adrian Newey's seat? And if so, what changes will Lawrence Stroll make for the sake of keeping Newey on board? There is no doubt about Aston Martin's downfall. The Silverstone-based squad thought they had it all figured out with Newey and Honda, but it turned out to be a complete failure. The Australian GP was always going to be a struggle for them, and the fact that Stroll managed to finish the race 15 laps behind Russell is being considered a positive outcome for Aston Martin, which tells you everything you need to know about the dynamics of the team. To make it even worse, it doesn't seem like there is an immediate fix to these issues. Quite the contrary. The predictions for China are even worse, as Aston Martin will bring a limited number of parts so that they'll focus on a conservative approach to the race rather than finding solutions for their current problems. And that's why there is a general belief that Aston Martin is frustrated with the dynamics of Adrian Newey's work, according to ESPN. After the Australian GP, Aston Martin faced a battery shortage, and although they are in a firm belief that they can salvage one of the two batteries that failed in Melbourne due to a communications issue, it's worth mentioning that teams are only expected to use 4 across the entire season. It's a direct threat for the Silverstone-based squad in terms of ongoing penalties throughout the year, and that puts Honda in a difficult spot for the remainder of 2026. You might ask yourself, where's the frustration with Newey here? It's quite simple, actually. He is believed to be pushing hard for Honda to improve behind the scenes, but his antics are now seen to be creating internal frustration within the team. Honda's chief, Koji Watanabe, and Newey appeared alongside each other during last Thursday's press conference in Melbourne. However, certain topics hadn't been discussed before they faced the media. Even the previous team principal, Andy Cowell, was located in Japan to help Honda with their reliability issues. But as of now, the most frustrating part is that there is not a quick fix for the problems that the team is facing. If somebody told us that Aston Martin would hit rock bottom before they even started the season, I think I speak for everyone when I say we'd laugh at this judgment. However, the fact that a team like Cadillac and Audi managed to get at least one driver to finish the race, and Audi even score points with Bortoleto, speaks volumes in terms of where Aston Martin is as a team right now. The statements from Adrian Newey are not encouraging at all. The former Red Bull chief of aerodynamics stated loud and clear that in Australia, his team was focused on nothing more than gathering information and preserving components. Further adding, Sunday in Melbourne was primarily an opportunity to learn more about the AMR 26. Both cars took the start, and when it became clear we could not compete for points, we chose to pit and check the cars over. The team then asked Fernando to retire the car to preserve components. The data and learnings from this weekend will help us as we go into the next event. Honda's trackside general manager and chief engineer Shintaro Orihara assured the Aston Martin fans that we are going to see a different version of the AMR 26 in China because they've taken measures for the vibration situation. Elaborating on this, Orihara said, "We have made some progress regarding the vibration situation, and we are continuing to work hard to reduce it. Reliability is the main area we need to improve, so we continue to work hard alongside Aston Martin. We have found another countermeasure, so maybe we can try something. We also accumulated mileage in the race, so we learned some things during the race event, especially in terms of behavior and also energy management. But if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think there is a positive sight for Aston Martin in the next couple of months, especially when you understand the core of their issues. On multiple occasions, Adrian Newey said that the team has the 5th best chassis on the grid, which more or less indicates that the issues with the car are not created by their end. In a scenario like this, it's very easy to get things escalated, and whether we like it or not, Newey and his team do need to take some of the responsibility on their backs, especially now when the frustration of Honda is growing extremely high. The F1 pundits are now speculating that Aston Martin and Honda have already ruined their relationship, and it could be a point of no return. When talking about it, Will Buxton said, "Melbourne was a disaster. It was a disaster from start to finish. Let's not try to paint this as some sort of success that Aston Martin managed to get a car on the grid, managed to get it to overtake a few cars when the lights went out, and somehow completed more laps than we expected. And Fernando Alonso went back in the race however many laps down he was. It's a disaster. This is the year that was supposed to be the one. The Adrian car, the Honda engine, Lawrence Stroll pinned everything on the regulation change this year. This was the year that they came to fight, and they are not. There's one common person that's binding Aston Martin and Honda from the past, and that's Fernando Alonso. It was very interesting to see how he's going to react on the fact that Honda, the team that ruined McLaren's chances of competition back from 2015 to 2017, is now supposed to supply Aston Martin with engines. The reaction did not disappoint. When talking about it to a greater extent, the 2-time world champion said, "I think I can see things now from a different perspective and with a different maturity, but I don't think that 10 years ago things were, again, dramatic. This is Formula One, a very media-centric sport. When you win a few championships just racing against your teammate, you are God. And then when you're fighting through a difficult period, everything is magnified as well." In a way, 10 years later, some of the things people thought about me back then, they may have changed their opinion and maybe now think that I was right 10 years ago. If we look at the proximate history of Honda, we can see that they've had their fair share of problems with McLaren and Red Bull, even though they got on top of it with the Austrian-based team. The McLaren tenure still stands as one of the worst partnerships on the grid. This does hint towards the fact that the problem could be more on the side of the Japanese team, especially if you remember that they were already on their way out before Lawrence Stroll convinced them otherwise. And now, after the first race, Will Buxton believes that Aston Martin throwing Honda under the bus will have massive implications over the remainder of their season. As he continued, "When you start off your first weekend throwing Honda under the bus, and in Japanese culture, pride and loyalty are so key. I just feel like they may have completely ruined that relationship before the first weekend was even over. And that, more than anything, it's a disaster from every conceivable perspective." The pressure is now on Adrian Newey. Although the engine vibrations and battery issues are yet to be resolved, he is the one that we had the most trust in. He was the man who was supposed to bring revolution to Aston Martin, despite all of Horner's statements that one man doesn't make a team great. Now, from this perspective, I think we should have trusted the former Red Bull team principal, but either way, the man who needs to make a move is Lawrence Stroll. We know how hard he fought to bring Newey over, and losing him just like that won't be easy. But if he sees no progress at all, another technical reshuffle could be possible where, instead of Newey being fired, he could be relegated or given a less significant role. It would be interesting to see how this will pan out, because Newey is not just an ordinary part of Aston Martin. He is a technical partner, and cutting ties with him will be much easier said than done. But considering all of the opinions of the experts as well as the drivers, one thing is for sure, Aston Martin has the worst and the most unexpected starts of the season. Lawrence Stroll needs to act quick if he wants to see any types of points being scored in the remainder of the season. And from this point of view, I'd like to ask you, do you think that he should fire Adrian Newey and focus on the partnership with Honda? Or do you think that bringing the Japanese manufacturer was a mistake? Let us know in the comments below.